guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Wesley Chapel Toyota, and guess what? We have that #1 selling compact SUV that is a hybrid, or non-hybrid for that matter. This is the 2020 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. This one, though, is that limited trim spec. But let's talk a little bit about the RAV4. RAV4 has been around since the 1990s, if you could believe that. Has really fallen into its own sweet spot in the SUV segment of the auto industry and has been that #1 seller for so many years for Toyota. Many competitors like Honda with the CR-V really trying to combat the sales that Toyota is bringing over to the table. Now, 2019 was a big year for the RAV4 because that was the first year of the hybrid edition. What's nice about the hybrid edition is that you're gonna get all-wheel drive capability standard with that setup. And that not only is going to entice people to go the RAV4 direction, but also you're gonna get maximum MPGs. Now, Honda has come out with a CR-V hybrid, but still, when it comes to maximum miles per gallon, the RAV4 is doing it like nobody's business. And what's wonderful is we have a limited trim spec, so it's a little bit higher at the top level to see what you get with features when it comes to the RAV4. So let's go ahead, dive into this 2020 RAV4 Hybrid limited trim. Right off the bat, I like the limited trim, and there's many different reasons why, and I'm gonna point those out to you as we go through it. First of all, you're gonna get LED headlights. I like the way they do a little bit of silver trim inside the headlight housing, and also the overall design. I think it's very, very smart with this nice slash cut, integrates nicely into the front fascia. You drop down and you have flat black. So with the limited trim, you're not getting any of the gloss black that's on the XSE trim. And the good news about that, it's gonna wear nicer over time. So you have some flat black around the housing for the fog lamp, functional fog lamps. It's not really looking like a fake vent or anything. Nice little design, flat black in the corners, and then across the grille on the limited trim, you're gonna get this nice dark metallic gunmetal gray forward facing camera. Of course, if you see blue on an emblem from Toyota, it's got to be a hybrid. That's signifying this is a hybrid. Now, the hybrid still has the same fake vent closer to the hood, but it blends in nicely. I'm only going to give it a half a zonk. It's nothing too crazy. Drop down, nice flat black, a little bit of silver across the bottom there, but really, I think when they came out with the redesign overall for the RAV4, they really hit the nail on the head to make it a looker. It looks nice and aggressive without going too overboard. Now, when we go up onto the hood, you have a C-shaped, U-shaped indentation, kind of gives you a nice rise effect to it. Really like the simple style. Don't need a bunch of folds and creases and everything else. Now, when we come around the bend, on the limited trim, you're getting flat black. So I like the flat black fender flare. Like I said, it's gonna wear a lot nicer. With the trim, with this trim wheel style, you're gonna get a nice brushed aluminum wheel. If you're wondering what's the size of this wheel, Joe, it's an 18-inch wheel. Nice style. I think it's working great with the flat black and this pearlescent white. 225 on the width, and it's got a nice meaty 60 series sidewall. Now, going down the fender treatment, you do have your hybrid badge to let you know that this is a special RAV4. This is not your standard internal combustion engine RAV4. Color match mirror caps, a little bit of chrome trim to kind of blend it into that headlight housing that I was showing you earlier, with some LED turn signals, flat black across the whole bottom. The one thing I'm a little confused about is the all-wheel drive badge. I wish they would have just put that on the back area. It's kind of placed in a weird area, I guess because it's near the rear wheels. Hey, let's put the all-wheel drive badge there. But I do like the way you have these nice gloss black roof rails. You can see we have the crossbars attached. Put your kayak, put your mountain bike. The good news is wherever you're going, you're gonna get there and have more fuel left in the tank with the maximum MPGs. Nice shape on the quarter window. You have the chrome trim. And then I really dig how Toyota does their floating roof design. So this gloss black piece separates the roof line from the rest of the fender, and it gives it that floating roof. You have the gloss black extension, very, very low roof spoiler, extends quite a bit. Tasteful design on the taillights, which is wonderful. You got your limited badge, hybrid, RAV4 badging. Now here's the interesting thing. You actually have exhaust pipes. On most hybrids, they try to hide the exhaust. On the RAV4, tastefully done exhaust tips on both sides. They are functional. I like the dark gray that they took from the front. They brought it to the back, and I really think it's smart to have this flat black material. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering this RAV4 hybrid. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. It's far over to the passenger side, so I'm not gonna zonk it. Underneath the hood, the nice thing is with hybrid technology, you're getting the most powerful RAV4 up to date. But guess what? That's gonna change soon with the RAV4 Prime coming next year. But on this particular RAV4, what are we talking about? Horsepower and torque and all those other goodies. We're looking at that naturally aspirated 2.5 liter inline four engine. It's mated with not only one, but two electric motors. Now the cool thing is you have an electric motor up front and you have an electric motor out rear. There's actually no mechanical drive shaft connecting the front power to the rear power. You just have that separate electric motor. It's all routed through a CVT automatic transmission. Toyota's using the older technology, nickel metal hydride batteries. They say that they're actually more reliable, and they do extend the warranties for the batteries and everything on this hybrid. Here's the great news though. 41 mpgs in the city, 38 on the highway. The RAV4 hybrid weighs in around 3,821 pounds. And with the extra horsepower, because we're looking at a combined 219 horsepower, you're looking at 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds. And like I was telling you, out back is where they're gonna have that other AC electric motor to power those rear wheels to give you that 8 all-wheel drive capability. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what Toyota is bringing to the table with this RAV4 hybrid limited trim. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 RAV4 hybrid limited trim. I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, I'm liking this RAV4. I like what I hear about saving mpgs and having that extra power. How much is this particular one? You're looking at an MSRP right at $42,000. Let's see what you get for the money. Now, to the door panels, love what they did. The top portion, soft material, the white contrast stitching, very tasteful, and it balances well with the silver. You have flat black around the switch gear, so you don't have to worry about fingerprints. The only issue is that it's got a smaller pocket down below, but it's good for a couple Taco Bell tacos, maybe a burrito or two, and you could get a bottle of soda. That speaker cover, I love what they did with the little touches. If you look around in here, they did little touches with style that I like. It's the little things that add up in life. They really are. Now you have soft touch up top. I love the silver trim soft touch here with the stitch work. You have a pocket here. Now you could put 500,000 in here. No, not dollars. We're talking about 100 gram bars. You can see the texture in there. Same as the speaker. Infotainment, so you have that iPad style. Now, it may look really cumbersome and in the way, but the good news is it's great to see. It's very easy to see. It's touch screen. You got your 3 different screens. You can get your weather. We can go into our navigation. It's an 8-inch infotainment system screen, and you have the optional JBL sound system with an amplifier and a subwoofer. I go back in the menu. You have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Let me throw it into reverse and show you the camera. So you got trajectory, out back, you got your 360, which is nice. We could touch the different angles, whatever you want, you could do here. I'm gonna put it back into park and show off the 360 creeper cam. So watch this. You press the button, say you're at the mall, it's dark, and you wanna see if anybody's creeping on you. You do the 360, it does a scan of the whole car. Watch this, it's gonna zoom out. Really tasteful technology that's gonna keep you safe and secure, and you're gonna feel really good. Now you do have your power on button. Hybrids get a power on. They don't get a start stop button. You get your power on button. You got your 2 large knobs. Even if you've been licking your fingers all day, you could grip these and you're not gonna slip. Dual climate control, and guess what? Heated and ventilated seats. You can shut the traction control off. Wireless charging, 12 volt, and a USB down there, which is great. This is gonna control that 8-speed CVT transmission. Hybrids get the CVT. You do have your mode selector, and what's cool is I can't show you right now because it's light out, but when there's less light or in the dark, this actually changes color. You go into eco mode, say you want to hug a tree, My advice, don't hug a palm tree. You'll learn after the first time. It turns green. You go into sport. What color do you think it turns? Red. You also have full EV mode. Love the silver trim. 2 cup holders with that same design from the speakers. And then here's our key fob. Of course, it's got some blue on it because this is a RAV4 hybrid. Turn it around. Simple buttons. It's light. I just wish they would update this key fob one of these days. Soft on the armrest, like the simulated stitching. Open this up. You have a party tray for your M&Ms, 2 USBs, and then you could probably take about 8 Twinkies and just lay them out horizontally. They're not going to get squished and cream everywhere because you're not stopping for fuel with this hybrid. Close it up. Seats, great. Stitch work, thumbs up. Perforated center. I even love the horizontal contrast stitching. Very, very soft. Now the zonk is it's a manual seat for the passenger, but electric for the driver. The reason why I'm zonking it because that limited trim, $42,000, that should be an electric assist seat. You do though get that awesome panoramic sunroof. And the nice thing is that say you loaded up 2 kayaks, you're supposed to have 2 kayaks. My advice, look up and see if you have 2 before you drive off. That way you don't get to your destination with just 1 kayak. That's not fun. Also, you have that very nice frameless auto dimming mirror. And I got plenty of headroom in here, 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom. But why don't you come over to the business end? I'll show you behind the wheel of this RAV4 hybrid. All right, guys, business time. You do have 2 memory settings for the seats, which is a nice touch on the limited trim. Also, like I said, for the driver's side of the business, you are going to get electric assist with the lower lumbar. I could use all the lower lumbar support I can get. Heated steering wheel. Thickness is great. The leather is wonderful. Flat black on all the buttons. You get the Toyota Sensing 2.0. So you got your emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, all that good stuff. You even have a little cubby over here for your own snacks. So say somebody's always eating your snacks, put your Twinkie or your 3 Musketeers over here. Nobody's getting to it. So that's very, very smart. And then the dash, you have an over 7-inch TFT display. Now I have it in sport mode. You know how I know that? The red rainbow there. If I change modes, see how I went into eco and now it's like a green setup? I'll go back into sport because I'm all about racing and whatnot. You have that display in the center that you could toggle through a plethora of information, which is great. Of course, you got your power gauge analog, and over on your right, you have an analog fuel gauge and coolant gauge. Overall, very comfy in here. Let's get to the back seat and see how your passengers are going to be sitting back there because they're going to be sitting there a long time because you're not stopping at the gas station. All right, guys, backseat time. Wonderful news is, and they're doing this more and more with hybrids, is where they hide the batteries. You know, a lot of times you would lose floor space because the floor would be a little bit raised. The batteries are actually underneath the passenger seat. And the good news is I'm not losing any space really. Now, the backs of the seats, very, very smooth. This one does not have a pocket, so that is a zonk, but you do get 2 AC vents and you have 2 USBs down below, which is a nice touch. Let me open that just to prove it. I get a pocket over here, so I could keep, you know, my abacus. Maybe I'm a little futuristic. I have a calculator. Maybe I just want to look at myself and I have a mirror. That could all go in that pocket. Seats are very, very comfy. I got a little bit of that nice panoramic sunroof back here. Pull down the armrest. Great height, soft as a big old box of Charmin. And then you have 2 cup holders, which are great. But why don't we get to the cargo area and see how usable this RAV4 hybrid is. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. We press the button. It's electric assist. Not too slow, not too fast, right in the sweet spot. You have a great amount of room here in the back area. You are looking at, when you want, like if you want hard numbers, you're looking at 37 cubic feet of space. Here's that JBL subwoofer. The nice thing is that you could actually adjust the level of the floor. Right now it's in the lowest setting. You could bring it up. What do we have underneath? You do have a spare. Even with this being a hybrid, you do have a spare. And then what I like on this side is that you are getting your 12 volt. Plus you have a place for those emergency Twinkies. If all the Twinkies are gone in the vehicle and you still haven't stopped for fuel, you got your emergency pack. And then it's real easy to fold the seats down. You just pull up and you push. You pull up and you push. There you go. Now, obviously, we could bring the floor up a little bit higher to kind of even it out. It's not going to lay totally flat because of the batteries underneath the passenger seat. Another thing is that you have the hard plastic here, but you can't flip this over and have carpet if you want. And I like that because think about it. You go to the beach, the kids' gear, it's all sandy, it's all wet. It's nice to have the plastic. It's easy to clean rather than having the carpet. You sit there and you're vacuuming for about 5 days, getting all that sand out. All you gotta do is just vacuum up real quickly off the plastic. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and take this RAV4 Hybrid for a spin. All right, guys, we left Wesley Chapel Toyota. We're in the 2020 RAV4 Hybrid. This one, the limited trim. Let me show you that extra power advantage. Even with the CVT, it drives pretty well. So on throttle, this RAV4 accelerates like no other RAV4 before it, to be honest with you. And I'm really looking forward to the Prime. The Prime is gonna have 301 horsepower, if you could believe that. And that's really gonna allow that thing to accelerate 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. But definitely, you get the quicker pickup. You also get such a nice riding RAV4. Having those batteries sit lower in the chassis, it actually increases the overall just driving stability of the RAV4, especially with the all-wheel drive setup. But on throttle here, through the twisty bits, definitely more power. Now, the challenge is you are getting a bit of body roll, and that really is going to limit your overall handling capability. But the wonderful news is that you have that electric motor out back. It's around 54 horsepower. That adds to the overall acceleration. Inside, everything in here is laid out really, really well. And I know you may look at this and say, it looks like it's been stuck on with some double-sided tape or something. It really is not an issue. It is at a perfect line of sight to where you could get your navigation to come up. You could get into, you know, whatever settings you need to have to increase your overall driving experience. Very easy to do. And I love the TFT display giving me full readout of whatever I want, whether it's showing the power delivery, the all-wheel drive delivery, or just my MPG, so I could look and see how high I could hypermile this thing. But watch, when we pull on the highway, sport mode, look out, we are on it. Great visibility out across the windshield, out back. The large glass window is easy to see out of. The side mirrors are a great size, very, very smooth. The seats are supportive and comfortable, and I love the lower lumbar on the driver's side of the end over here. But I'm telling you, before driving this hybrid RAV4, I wasn't really the biggest fan of RAV4s. After driving it, it really has opened my eyes not only to the RAV4 itself, but also hybrid technology, and now that helps with things like acceleration and whatnot. Steering has a great feel to it. Let's go ahead and we'll bust a U-ey at this intersection. Easy peasy. Look at that. Easy peasy. Back on throttle. We're gone. That's my favorite part about this RAV4 Hybrid. Besides the maximum MPGs, the 0 to 60, it just makes it such a more enjoyable SUV to drive. Another thing that I'm quite pleasantly surprised is with the CVT in this car. You know, your non-hybrid RAV4 has an 8-speed automatic transmission. The CVT, yes, when you're on full throttle, you get that louder drone from the engine, but just driving around normal, you barely even notice it. And I'm telling you, for the people who want a compact SUV that want to get crazy miles per gallon, this is the way to go. I mean, it truly is unbelievable, the technology, how it's able to gain that kind of overall fuel rate. All right, guys, hopefully this gave you a nice overall feel of what the RAV4 Hybrid Limited is bringing to the table. We are back at Wesley Chapel Toyota, so we're gonna wrap this one up. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another great day here at Wesley Chapel Toyota. I definitely got to thank Jeff and the rest of the crew getting us access to this RAV4 Hybrid at the limited trim level. Is this the compact standout SUV? If you want maximum MPGs, I'm going to say 100% yes. The way that it drives, the way that it rides, and especially at this trim, all those amenities make it second to none. CR-V is competition, but I don't know, I'm liking the RAV4 a little bit more. But if it's vehicles like these that you want to keep seeing on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it out to Big Guns McGee. He's getting maximum mpgs when it comes to his protein shake. So thank you, Tom, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.